Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of CNF Talks. Today I have with me Michael Borrelli, who's a director at AI and Partners. AI and Partners is a media partner for our forthcoming event, the Data, AI and Future of Financial Services Summit, which is being held in London on the 22nd of October. Michael, welcome.
Thank you, Maurice. Great to be here. Very much looking forward to your event, and hopefully we can have an interesting discussion today.
Right, yeah, I'm sure that we will. So let's turn to our first question, Michael. Data sovereignty is crucial in AI development, driven by national regulators, GDPR, China's cybersecurity law, and US Cloud Act, and so on. And there's very much a sort of localized data government policies. Please, could you just share your thoughts about the pros and cons of each of the main four approaches, privacy focused ones like the EU GDPR, protectionist like the China one, the efficiency-orientated ones like the US cloud, and the hybrid approaches in places like Japan and South Korea.
I think the different approaches reflect the different nationalist sentiment or the respective territory sentiment towards protection in that sense. So I think that's probably it goes a bit beyond what we can discuss today. What I will say is for the protectionist side or the EU side, it's very much risk based. It's not outlawing all activities. It's just saying whatever activity you have respect to data and data governance has a risk level attached to it, which ultimately impacts or inflates or deflates the risk profile of the AI system, and is very much in keeping with the Europeans' approach of focusing on the consumer, so protecting individuals' health, safety, and fundamental rights first and foremost. And I think that's reflected throughout the AI lifecycle and value chain.
Mm. Yeah, so in terms of, I mean, touching on the protectionist ones in China and so on, and looking at the approach in the US, what are the challenges and the opportunities that this silo-based approach really presents to both the providers and users of AI?
It could, again, it all depends on different cases, but I think without a pragmatic approach, it could cut you off from certain markets. So there is a mechanism under the ERA called AI regulatory sandboxes, which allows you to test different AI applications innovation in a controlled environment with oversight from regulators. So in that sense,
Yeah.
you could have different approaches to data sovereignty, and you could get real-time feedback on whether it is likely to be acceptable or not, and the different conditions imposed around it subsequent to the use of it. So I think it's really much at the embryonic stages. If you're planning anything, they're not saying, other than a few express use cases, they're not saying anything's wrong. It's just saying be open to pivoting, be open to exploring and engaging in open dialogues to make sure that the approach that works for you and the most pragmatic is likely to have commercial longevity.
Yeah, I guess so. The impact on operational efficiency is quite significant, isn't it? But do you think that there will be a trend to sort of workarounds between regulators and understandings that allow providers and users not to have too much of a problem?
Say any workarounds are likely to be questioned or scrutinized quite heavily. So I would say probably guard against any workaround if you're taking the easy route is not necessarily a route that you should take. With respect to operational efficiency, it's all part of the broader people, processes, technologies, and policies.
Yeah.
So taking optimizing one process for which is part of a bigger wave of processes or business functions, which could be quite antiquated or disjointed, could have a disproportionate impact or non-impact, as the case may be. So it's really a case of okay, how many other parallel processes does this affect? Who are the people involved? Who are the process? What are the processes? What's the technology? And how is it? How does this have business value in that sense?
Yeah. Yeah, sound advice, I think. Finally, Michael, could you tell us a little bit about G42's intelligence grid concept, and how that's going to work? Because that's something that I think you've highlighted before, and we're very interested to hear a bit more about that.
With regard to specifics, the project's still ongoing, and it's all part of the move towards digitizing the economy in the Middle East.
Yeah.
They've made significant investments in AI infrastructure in another parts of the value chain. So it's showcasing a move towards AI and a data-driven economy. But AI is just one aspect of this. So
Yeah.
from the outside, the economy is going to be contingent on multiple domains such as quantum computing, artificial
Mm.
intelligence, we covered Internet of Things, 5G. So this is
Mm.
it's a good almost proof of concept. You could think of it like this: the Middle East, what the future or the digital economies are going to look like, and the
Mm.
Middle East have been, you could say, along with other economies further east, have been first movers in that way.
Mm. Do you think it's easier for them in a sense that they don't have quite so much of a legacy in terms of rules and regulations and, in fact, infrastructure itself? And therefore, as it were, they're sort of starting from a clean sheet of paper in many respects.
Easy is relative, so it could be what is easy for you, or maybe someone else, it may be different. So the context
Mm.
will be different. Arguably, they have a rich heritage in many other ways. So I wouldn't necessarily say that they don't have
Yeah.
uh, yeah, long-standing institutions. What I will
Yeah.
say is the ruling party and the support structures are very much pro-innovation because they
Mm.
could see innovation is seen as a way to unite or create a unified approach across social, economic, and political fabrics of society. Um,
Mm.
and you could see how this happened in the 20th century, and a lot of other economies are betting big on AI for that same purpose. So if they can show this the way and show, give other people an indication of what works or what doesn't work, or what they can then apply in their own context, because there's
Yeah.
one size doesn't really fit all, then I think that's progress for society, which requires strong regulatory underpinnings.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, very nice to speak to you, Michael. And for our viewers, if you wish to hear more on these and related topics, please do attend the summit itself on the 22nd of October in London. Further information is available on the City and Financial Global website. So it just remains for you to say thank you very much, Michael, and look forward to seeing you at the event.
Looking forward to seeing you all and the team there. Appreciate it.
Fantastic.